Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey and welcome to a new video. In this video I'm going to be telling you guys about a type of bolt in the game that is in my opinion the best bolt in the game, and I'm going to be explaining why this is. And this is Onyx bolts E. Unfortunately they do not have the same base damage as the tier 90 bolts, so stuff like Ascension bolts is technically going to do more damage. They have the same base damage as tier 80 bolts, so your royal bolts. However, they have a very overpowered special attack. The only catch with this is, unfortunately, with the Onyx bolts, they are extremely expensive. They're about 8.5k each, and the special attack will occasionally destroy your bolts. So even if you are using abilities and you're doing everything right, and you shouldn't be losing bolts because of that, you still will lose some of them just because of the fact that the special attack can destroy them. So how does this special attack work? The attack is called Life Leech. It has a 20 to 25% chance. This increases if you have done the Sears Village Elite Diaries, because that increases your chance of enchanted bolt special attacks going off. This does not quite put it in the same tier of damage that the Ascension bolts are going to have, so you're still going to be doing a little bit more damage with those tier 90 bolts. However, there's an additional thing that the Life Leech does, which it heals 25% of the damage dealt when it does these extra damaging attacks, which is quite good in many PvM situations, as you might already expect. Additionally, beyond the special attack, there's also a small chance of it doing even more damage, healing even more HP. However, it will destroy your bolt in the process. Unfortunately, there is no way to turn off this additional special attack that the Onyx bolts have, so you are going to lose some Onyx bolts if you do decide to use them. That's why you have to be very picky and choosy with where you want to use these bolts, and that's why I decided to use them at Araxxor, because I figured this is one of the few bosses where you really could stand to use the extra healing, especially if you're not an experienced Araxxor and you're trying to do some of the higher phases. And the bolts do cost a lot, but with Araxxor's drops, as long as you're getting fairly lucky on the stick pieces and all, you should more than make your money back here. So it's just really up to you to decide whether it's worth it to use them or not. However, this is one of the few situations where I think they could definitely be justified. What I decided to do to illustrate exactly how these Onyx bolts work is do phase 1 of Araxxor and just show off the HP bar by expanding it, and occasionally you will see these passive healing abilities where my HP just goes up even when I didn't eat, I didn't use Resonate or anything, and that is from the Onyx bolt special going off. As bad at Araxxor as I am, even I shouldn't have to eat too much food on phase 1 of Araxxor with these OP bolts, so I decided this would probably be the best phase in order to do this. The main use I could probably see in terms for Onyx bolts is just for people that do struggle to do the higher phases of Araxxor, and that's probably going to be the main reason for this, because I will admit it is very annoying to only be able to do like 6 or 8 Araxxor kills a day, and then if you're not the most experienced, or if you just don't have the best gear for Araxxor, you have to take a break for the next day and wait a whole long time, several hours, until you can do Araxxor again. Obviously this does not apply to the people that are really good at Araxxor and can already do all of the enrages with no problem. This is more for the people who aren't quite on that level yet, and that's probably the main people that I could see actually using these bolts. They're of course going to be useful at other PvM situations. Some other things that I could think of are possibly solo Nex, Ice phase. This might be useful because you do take a lot of damage during that particular phase of solo Nex and could stand to use them. Solo Calfight King perhaps, or if someone just has a large amount of money and doesn't mind spending the extra on Onyx bolts in order to get some free healing off, that is definitely going to help. And I am going to skip phase 2 and phase 3 because it doesn't really showcase the Onyx bolts as well as the other two phases of Araxxor does. In phase 4 of Araxxor, the Onyx bolts are definitely going to be a help, but they're not going to be able to sustain your food intake even if you are switching prayers perfectly. So that is something to keep in mind, especially at the higher enrages when Araxxor is doing a lot more damage on this 4th phase. You will still have to eat brews and all that, but still the bolts can provide a little bit of extra healing so that you can get a slightly easier phase 4, and that can always be nice for some people, especially when you get out that death swiftness and then start hitting with that. When you do get those effects and you hit extra hard with the Onyx bolts and heal the damage, the death swiftness is going to double that, and you're going to heal double the damage. As far as I could tell, there was no cap on how much the Onyx bolts could heal, which can lead to you healing for some really nice 500-600 hits, which is like half of a Saradomin brew drink. And unfortunately, I'm really not the best at prayer switching and all that, so I did have to chug quite a few brews because I'll admit it, I messed up quite a bit on this 4th phase, and I did miss a lot of prayer switches, so I did get hit quite a bit. And unfortunately, drinking the brews does kind of throw off exactly showing off how much these Onyx bolts are healing, but I promise you they are making an effect and they are helping out quite a bit, as I'll finish off this kill here really quickly. And it turns out I didn't actually use that many bolts during the kill. I only used 13 bolts the entire Araxi kill. I did use the Ascension bolts, and I did switch to them when I was killing the spider minions, but other than that, I used Onyx bolts, and then ironically I got Onyx bolts as a reward from Araxi, which is probably to be expected. And as you can see, only 13 bolts gone. I started off the kill with 200, ended up with 187, and if we price check those, that's about 110k, so that does add a significant cost. Of course, it does depend on your luck how many Onyx bolts you are going to use per kill, but it does add quite a bit of cost. That's why I said you got to be really careful with where you decide to use these bolts, but if you do decide to use them, they are very good. That's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you tomorrow with the next one, and farewell.